3.0 Mole Concept Part 4 3.2 Empirical and Molecular Formula. Second hour. Learning outcomes. From this subtopic, you should be able to define the terms empirical and molecular formula. To determine empirical and molecular formula from mass composition or combustion data. Empirical formula indicates which elements are present and the simplest whole number ratio of their atoms in a molecule. Molecular formula shows the exact number of atoms of each element in the smallest unit of a substance. N times empirical formula is equal to molecular formula, where n is integer 1, 2, 3, and so on. If we look at these three compounds, formaldehyde, acetic acid, and glucose, all have the same empirical formula but different molecular formula. All three compounds contain 40% of carbon, 6.73% of hydrogen, and 53.27% of oxygen. So, compounds with different molecular formula can have the same empirical formula, and such substances will have the same percentage composition. Consider the following flow diagram. This diagram shows how to calculate empirical formula. If the data given by percent composition, get the mass composition, and then calculate number of moles of each element. Then divide it by smallest number of moles to find the mole ratios. Lastly, multiply it by appropriate number to get the whole number subscript. Guideline to determine empirical formula. If the data given by percent composition, you must assume mass of sample equal to 100 gram, and then draw the table as shown. Example of question on how to determine the empirical formula and molecular formula by percentage composition. Solution. Calculating molecular formula. Use the formula Point to remember. Never round off values close to whole number in order to get a simple ratio, but multiply the value by a factor until you get a whole number. By combustion data. If they are given mass of compound, follow this step to determine the empirical formula. Step 1. Find the mass of carbon and hydrogen of the organic compound from the combustion data. Step 2. Find the composition by mass of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Step 3. Calculate the empirical formula by using table. Okay, now you can try to answer this question as a learning check. The final answers are given below. Further discussion on this calculation will be discussed during your next tutorial class.